today's lesson, the students will add and subtract unlike fractions. An example of an unlike fraction, 1 over 2 plus 2 over 7. The reason they're unlike fractions, class, is because the denominator is the same. The bottom numbers are different. So I came up with a new acronym to help us remember what we do when we're adding and subtracting fractions that are unlike. It's called LAS. L, get the least common denominator or multiple. You'll see it in different books. Sometimes it'll say LCD, sometimes it'll say LCM. They're synonyms, they mean the same thing. Okay. A is add, S is subtract. So you'll be doing one of those two operations depending on what the problem asks you to do. And then last, we know how to simplify already. And our acronym for simplifying is get it done. Okay. So step 1, find the LCM or LCD. Step 1. First, I write the factors. I mean the multiples, I'm sorry, of 7 and 2. So I wrote all of the multiples of 7 and 2. And I find the least, which is the lowest, the smallest multiple, not factor, multiple that they have in common. So they have more multiples in common, but we want to find the lowest one that they have in common. And the reason why, because it makes our work easier when we have to simplify. Remember, like I told you before, it's better to find the greatest common factor, because if you don't find the greatest common factor, you have extra steps, and a lot of y'all don't like to do extra work. So we find the least common multiple is 14. So now I'll be writing this 1/2 with a 14 as a denominator. I'll be writing this 2 over 7 as a 14 as a denominator. You see that?
Yeah.
Second step, rewrite the fraction. Well, how am I going to rewrite this fraction? I know it's going to change the 14 here, it's going to change the 14 here. This is what we learn when we write in what? Equivalent fraction. 2 times 7 equals 14, so whatever I do at the bottom, I have to do at the top. 1 times 7 equals 7. I rewrote 1/2 as 7 over 14. 2 over 7, well, 7 times 2 is 14. And again, remember, 14 is my least common multiple. So 2 times 2 is 4. So I rewrote the fraction. Got it now. Now they're like fractions. They're not the same, but they're like fractions because the bottom is the same. Right?
Yes.
Step 3. Add or subtract. In this case, I'm adding the numerator. And again, just as a friendly reminder, the numerator is the top number. The denominator is the bottom number. So I add and subtract. Because they're like, I can add this. 7 plus 4 equals 11. I keep the bottom the same. 11 over 14. The fourth step is simplify. I don't have to simplify because their greatest common factor is 1. If I divided 11 14s by 1, I would get 11 14s. So, again, as a recap, the 4 steps to adding or subtracting fractions that were unlike denominators or unlike fractions. First, we find the LCM. Second step, which goes with the third step, you're going to add or subtract depending on the operation. And the last step, you simplify. You stop.